But yes, we're recording for educational and training purposes. So whenever we're in a breakout room, if everyone is in that room, it's being recorded. So again, welcome to everybody, and we're glad to see you. And I'd like to welcome you to this introduction, the Empathy Circle Practice and Empathy Training. And some of you have already been here, before rather. So hold on a minute, let me get my screen. Was working fine now, but now it's not. So my name is Linda Bass. I'm from Keller, Texas, which is near Fort Worth, Texas, between Fort Worth and Dallas. I am a mediator, arbitrator, and I am still training and getting comfortable with the Empathy Circle. So the Center for, okay, hold on a minute. The Center for Building a Culture of Empathy has a mutual vision, empathy, to see mutual empathy as a primary world value. We believe that more empathy in the world will create a better understanding, foster a better understanding and appreciation of each other. The Center for Building a Culture of Empathy has many projects going on. You have the website, and Edwin is the creator, if you will, of the website, and he manages the social media community and empathic tents, if you will. That's more of a community deal. Okay. Now, I do not know. So we found empathy circles to be the best method for learning and deepening listening and empathy skills based on mutual empathic listening, which I think is a deeper form of active listening. So if you had an opportunity to view the Empathy Circle video prior to coming here today, you were probably able to recognize some of the many benefits of that practice. So we're working to scale up and train every person. That's 8 billion people, and we're almost there. No, but the goal is to spread this as much as we can with the population on how to take part in and create empathy circles. It will introduce you to a greater well-being and focus. So as today, Edwin is going to show you the outline for the Empathy Circle, what we're going to go through today. But before we do that, we're going to post in the chat room the evaluation form, and we ask that you complete that, share your email and complete that, and it'll go straight to Edwin. So thank you. And now to Edwin.
I do want to review what we're going to be doing.
Yes.
Review the outline. I should do a screen share. So yeah, so on the screen you see we have the welcome. That's what Linda was just doing. We're going to go through and have participant introductions. I guess we could usually, if we have a larger group, we just have the facilitators introduce themselves. But since we're a smaller group, Linda, I think we could just call on each person just to do a quick intro.
Yeah.
And then about the training, we'll do the question and answers, and then we'll have a little video on how to take part in an empathy circle, and then we'll all take part and have the actual practice for a little bit over an hour. And then we'll come back and have a full group debrief.
So, okay, there we go. So welcome, Gary. We can go around and introduce ourselves. And again, I'll start with me, Linda Bass from Keller, Texas, and mediator, arbitrator, and active participant in these empathy circles. Larry? And then Bill.
Everybody, I'm Larry. I live in Florida. I'm a retired occupational therapist. I came across these empathy circles a few months ago on YouTube, and I became interested in what I was hearing. And one day I heard Edwin say, in these empathy circles, everyone is equal. And I was sold from that moment on. And I've really been enjoying participating. It's nourishing, refreshing. It's kind of, in a way, gives me hope for humanity to get together and, you know, actually save our environment. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, my name is Bill Filler. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've been involved with Edwin and the Empathy Circles for about 4 years now, both doing online trainings and also doing, we're going to bring the empathy tent out to political rallies, farmers markets, basically whoever will listen to us. We're quite obnoxious, and happily so. I'm a retired special education teacher that worked with severely emotionally challenged kids, including kids on the spectrum. And what I found is that when my students felt heard, their aggressively acting out and everything like that went down a tremendous amount. And I believe that this is what our society needs right now, for people to be heard. And then from that kind of stance of shared humanity, shared community, start to really work on our issues. I'm very interested in bringing empathy circles to schools, and I have put in the chat my contact information. I have a Thursday group at 10 a.m. at that to discuss that. If you're interested in that, let me know. I have a bunch of strategies to bring them to the schools, and then I'll figure out what works for you. Thank you.
Okay. Melissa, and then Dwayne, and then Gary.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Melissa Fernandez. I am from the San Francisco Bay Area. That's in the United States. I am in healthcare, and I am very interested in empathy because it is a vital skill to have, not just in healthcare, but I believe everywhere in our day-to-day life. There is so much misunderstanding in the world because we are in such a rush, and we don't have time to stop and listen anymore. And I think this is a wonderful way to be able to develop the ability to stop and pause and listen and understand each other.
Thank
so
you,
that we can
Melissa.
have peace.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry. I thought you were sorry.
No.
Okay, Dwayne, and then Gary.
Okay. Hello, my name is Dwayne Hearn. I'm located in Las Vegas, Nevada, originally from Los Angeles, California, by the ocean. First and foremost, my interest in empathy circles, empathy cafes is for my own personal growth and development. I also am involved with the International Community Service Fraternity, university-based fraternity, and I'd like to bring this practice to our organization. And I look forward to beginning the facilitation training in November.
All right. And Gary.
Yes, I'm Gary Barker. I'm located in the Portland, Oregon metropolitan area. I am a retired aerospace worker that so happened to recycle back into education. I work for a newspaper, and we are starting our own school for journalism. So that's my primary project right now, but I would definitely love to put this circle in our curriculum and in our workplace. So I have a big front in front of me, but it's well worth it because being empathetic is what's going to save the world. I really believe that this culture is going to save us from ourselves.
Okay. And I'm finna call on some more people. These were all our return people. If you would just tell us how you got into how you found the Empathy Circle and how does it interest you, Hanna?
Hi. Yeah, so my name is Hanna. I live in Sweden currently. How I ended up here, well, I've hosted meditation groups before and I really enjoyed that. I really loved the being able to bring people together and really connect. I studied master's in public health, so empathy and health, like the connection there is really interesting as well. And I recently joined XR, and I would like to bring the circles in the Gothenburg group here.
All right, Josie, thank you, Hannah. Josie?
Hello all. I'm an ex special needs teacher working, I used to work, my last role was in a pupil referral unit with students who were emotionally, had been emotionally abused, basically, abused in one way or another, but massive emotional issues. And yeah, recently joined Extinction Rebellion, and I'm keen to learn about being a mediator during actions, and thought that this would be extremely useful with actions happening relating to COP26 here at the moment, and also in the wider world. Even in the town that I live in is about 30,000 people, to the west of London, and people are angry. People are angry, full stop. You know, traffic, people are honking the horns more, people are getting out of the cars and shouting. We recently had issues, petrol shortages. I don't know whether you've had it on your news, but we couldn't get petrol for days and days, weeks. And at the petrol stations, it was horrendous. The anger of people,
Yeah.
screaming and shouting at each other and pushing in front. And, you know, we are desperate for something like this in the wider world.
I
Yeah.
totally agree. Totally agree. Thank
Yeah.
you. Linda, the other Linda.
Hi, I'm thrilled to be back. So I am Linda Curry, and I'm here in Berkeley, California, part of the Transition Berkeley group, which is a national and an international organization. Our specific mission is to bring neighbors and community members together to live a more equitable, regenerative, and self-reliant future. And we do that through this head, heart, and hands approach. So really change happens, I think, through the heart. You can know and, you know, have all the intellect in the world, but the change that has happened for myself and in my community, I think, has been through that one-on-one connection and that place of empathy and understanding. And so I came across Edwin. He was part of an event that we did in our community maybe 5 years ago, and we did some practice there. And I've seen his tents at various activities, some conflict related things in the past 3 or 4 years here in our town where we've had some very bad conflict. And so right now we're in the process of including, this is going to be the core of our upcoming Mobilize Berkeley event on November 6th, which if any of you are interested, we'd love to have your help as facilitators for that, because we want to spread this out more to all these organizations within our own community. It just has such great potential. So I'm thrilled to be here. Bonnie Baruki is also the co-director of Transition Berkeley with me. And I'm sure she has some things to add. So thanks for hosting this, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, that's a good segue to Bunny.
Okay, thank you, Linda, so much. Yes, as Linda said, I'm the other Transition Berkeley co-director, and of course, Berkeley, California. And I think I met Edwin about at least 7 years ago, maybe an art of hosting workshop. And anyways, was impressed with the style of dialogue. And right, and also I've participated in these in the brief sessions, like the one, as Linda mentioned, we had some issues, especially like around when Trump was first elected, when the people came to our town, and the empathy tents, like listening to people with completely different views from your own, really needs that's a challenge. But I think even in small areas, the very small communication, we all can use a lot of help and work in our communication skills. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity to do this longer session.
Thank you, Bonnie. Moraine?
I got in contact with the Empathy Circles through my involvement with Extinction Rebellion. I joined Extinction Rebellion in 2019, and we had a very active year. And then when COVID came and we were all off the streets, we found the Empathy Circles online. And that's how I got in touch with them. And I did Edwin's program for training facilitators. I find I'm still, and now at the moment I am the coordinator in Ireland for the Regenerative Culture Empathy Circle in Ireland XR. So we try to keep it going. And I find the Empathy Circle very easy. It's a very easy way of communication, and there's no preparation for it. You just come as you are. And it's quite relaxing also.
That's true. Thank you, Moraine. Maria?
Hello.
And tell us where you're from and how you found Empathy Circle.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry that I've joined without my camera. And also I didn't realize that I'm not on mute, and I'm sorry if I interrupted anyone when joining. My name is Maria Petrova. I was born in Bulgaria, and I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I live in London already 20 years. And I enjoy London, but it's quite different and quite difficult in the last 2 years. I joined Empathy Circle because I would like to meet new people. I like to exchange communications, interactions, and views and feelings. I lost my mom quite early, and I thought that I would love to meet other people who had difficult experiences, probably, and that's why they joined Empathy Circle. And I would love to see how they are coping with the difficulties in their lives, and what makes them feel better about themselves or about the people who's they're meeting every day, and they're communicating, and how their positive outlook of better future after the pandemic.
All right, thank you. Isla Brown. Is that an L? Isla.
Yes, hi. So my name is Isa Brown. Yes, I'm located in Isla, and I'm interested in empathy circles because of NVC. So that's the first motivation. I'm looking for ways of incorporating empathy circles in the future in other things like groups I may be leading in the future. So for me, it's kind of like exploration right now and getting to know other people as well. Thank you.
Yeah. He said your sound is just a little bit off. Where did you say you were from?
Aruba.
Okay, Aruba. Okay, thank you. Glad you're here. Are you able to use your video today?
My internet is very unstable. That's the
Okay. All right. Well, we're just glad you're here.
Thank
All
you.
right. I'm not sure who I'm supposed to turn this over to now.
To
Edwin.
Bill. They're ready to go? Yep. Okay, Bill.
Sure. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit overview of the training. And let's see here, excuse me. There we are. And I have to reshare here. Sorry. Okay. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Why don't we, Edwin, I don't know if you shared. Give me a second here.
And yeah, take your time, Bill. It works before we come on, and then when we come on, it just the little gremlins come in. So
I put the link into the website. So there's a website,
okay.
Anyone can open it.
Okay, I
and
did.
Bill's going to be reviewing the site.
Good. Okay,
here.
so hopefully this works now. Yes, it does. Look at that.
Okay.
Yay.
see,
Okay, there we go. Thank you. All right, let's get that over there. All right, so this is the landing page for the course. It's here. Here is the course that you can click on. And so we'll just go through again, as Linda said so well. Our vision is to bring this sort of dialogue to the whole world. So to do that, we created this open source Empathy Circle Facilitation Training. And so open source means we invite anyone to use it. And you can fold it into your own practice. You can, hold your own trainings, etc. Just give credit and link back to this training website. We also invite you to help to co-host, design, and co-promote the training for individual well-being and the well-being of humanity. There is no cost to take part. This is very important, I know, to Edwin, so that there are no barriers for people to learn this process. We believe this part of the human heritage, and that is free. However, you can donate to support the work if you can, and if that within your mind, within your means, and you can hear some links about that. Where you are in now is an introduction cafe, and this gives you, first of all, there is a 2 circle prerequisite in order to enter the training, just so you're familiar with the basic ideas and mechanics of the circle. This counts as 1. You can take another, attend another cafe, and there's your 2, or you can hold a empathy circle with your friends or family and stuff like that. And we do that on the honor system. If you do decide to take the training, there is a time commitment. It's once a week. It occurs at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it goes for 2.5 hours, and then it goes for 5 sessions. Please consider this very carefully, because if you commit, if people drop out, it messes up our numbers. Everyone you see here is working for free, and it's volunteered their time, sometimes quite a bit of hours. And so if there's something that comes up, there's an emergency, we understand that. However, to the greatest extent possible, if you do commit to it, please come to all the sessions and complete the training. We just added, I will say right now, we added, you'll get a certificate if you come to all of them. There's a certificate of completion. The training path, each cohort is an ongoing cohort series. This is module 1 that you would be taking, which is a basic facilitation practicum. And so you can take that as many times as you want. You can come in as a participant, then you become a trainee. where you present certain aspects of the training. And when you're done with that, you become a trainer when you can present any part of the training. And then they're also producing path too. So those are some of the ways. It's meant to be very basic, but you can go at your own path, own pace rather, by taking it as many times as you want. Some of our best facilitators, took it 3-4 times as a participant before they felt comfortable, and their skills are excellent. We're looking to build a supportive community. And so we do that with the empathy buddy calls and email lists. So once you're part of our community, you can call for help. I know that I've reached out to for facilitators, and people have come up, and I've been very, very pleasantly surprised by that. You can sign up here. The cohort 12 series meets on Saturdays. And here's the link to that. The next one starts Saturday, November 20th. And the cohort 13 series always meets on Mondays. And you can sign up. That one, the next one we will do training then is Monday, January 3rd. This is an overview of the training. The first session, when you come, we'll talk about the Empathy Circle, and then also talk about the values of a culture of empathy. We have some of the values are empathy, openness, mutuality, and care. That's not a complete list. You may say something else, that's fine, but it basically couches the practice in what our values are. And so the next one is a practice facilitation, where you'll have a chance to actually manage an empathy circle. And then you'll also get practice in introducing the basics or the mechanics. Session 3 is the same, although we do, if you are ready for it, you can introduce challenges. And so, because in every empathy circle facilitation, there's some, like we just had technical challenges. But you can have as many or as little or no challenges, depending upon where you feel that you're ready. And then session 4, you have the option to practice the how-to if you feel a bit rusty, but we'll basically go into practice facilitation with challenges or none if you're not ready. And session 5, is training debrief and feedback, where we come back in and we then revisit the values in light of your training. How has it changed you or not, or whatever? And we talk about next steps. Edwin has gone to great lengths to make this compendium of tremendous information about empathy. Here are some of the various things you can see: how to do an empathy circle, get the basic instructions, facilitator support, things like that. And then also, he's done hundreds of interviews and read hundreds of books about empathy. And so he has a link to some of that more information that you can find there. And that is that. And I'll entertain any questions that you might have, either if you have any questions. And I do not see any questions. So then I'll turn it back over to Edwin.
I've got a question, sorry.
Oh, sure, Moraine.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. Normally, is it any restriction how big should be the group, and normally how many people are participating?
Excellent question. Sure. So generally, the optimum size, what we call it, what you'll experience today, a breakout circle, is 4 to 5 people. And you can see we have quite a bit more than that. And so that's why we have facilitators. So we essentially, if we have a larger group, we try to break it up into groups of 4 to 5 people. And so that's the optimal, but you can do more if you have more facilitators.
I'll just mention that that's for the empathy circle. For the training, we have up to 30 people in the training cohort.
Right.
If that's what you're meaning.
Okay. All right. Yes. Mr. Chiana?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Bill Filler. Just to find out though, really the 2 cohorts, cohort 12 and cohort 13. Let's assume you participated in cohort 12. Is there any difference between 12 and cohort 13? Thank you.
No, there shouldn't be. There might be slightly different facilitators or trainers based upon who's available, but essentially it's the same training. Okay. All right, any other questions?
I think we're ready to go into the,
Okay.
we're going to do a quick fishbowl just to model it. Melissa will just lead a couple of people here just to model a little empathy circle. So go ahead.
Edwin, you will not be doing the how-to initially.
Oh,
Do you
you're
want me
right.
to-
Thank you. That's it. Doing the how-to. Yes. A lot of balls in the air here. So this is the instructions for how to take part in an empathy circle. It's going to be just a, whoops, 6 minutes. Oh, so how do I close this? I think gonna stop the share. I hit the wrong buttons here. So this is the instructions, just a quick 6-minute instructions for how to take part in an empathy circle. And I'm Edwin Rutch, founding director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation on how to take part in a basic empathy circle. So next, let's look at the step-by-step how to take part. An empathy circle starts with 2 to 7 participants. Here on the screen, we have 4 participants, which I find is an ideal number. There are 4 basic roles, and the roles rotate among the participants as the empathy circle unfolds. 1, the speaker, is the first person to speak. 2 is active listener who actively listens to the speaker. There's the silent listeners, they quietly observe and witness. And the facilitator who organizes, schedules, and hosts the circle. They also do the timekeeping, and they have some experience with the process and help keep participants in the process. However, everyone has the responsibility to hold the process and the practice. So to begin with, the facilitator will start the empathy circle. They welcome the participants. They lead introductions if the participants don't know each other. The facilitator invites participants to give short introductions, for example, their name, where they're from, and something personal about themselves. The facilitator then reviews the empathy circle process to remind everyone how it works. They announce the discussion topic if there is one. Even if there is a topic, you can always talk about what is alive for you. That is what is on your mind in the moment. And 5, they set the speaker time limits, perhaps 5 minutes, for example. And the facilitator then asks who would like to start to be the first speaker. So at that point, the participant volunteers to be the first speaker. As speaker, you select who will be your active listener, and you can select anyone that you want. You speak about the topic given or whatever is alive for you. And so you'll speak a bit until you have maybe expressed an idea or two. And then you want to pause to give the active listener a chance to recap what they understand that you are saying and feeling. If you say too much, the listener may have difficulty in reflecting it. As the active listener, you are listening to the speaker to get an understanding of what they're saying and what is important to them. You are giving them your full attention as a supportive companion on their inner journey and exploration. When the speaker pauses, you recap your understanding of what they said and how they feel by reflecting the essence of that in your own words. You can summarize, paraphrase, or even say the speaker's words back to them. Even though you may have a strong impulse to respond with your own ideas, judgments, analysis, advice, and sympathy, or even questions, resist the impulse to do so because These common responses block the speaker from moving along their internal journey. You'll be able to say whatever you want when it is your turn to be the speaker. If you don't reflect the understanding to the speaker's satisfaction, they can always say it again. Then as speaker, you check, do you feel understood to your satisfaction? If you do not feel understood, you can say it again, perhaps in different words. If you do feel understood, continue sharing. Again, after speaking a bit, pause to give your active listener a chance to recap their understanding of what you said. As the active listener, you again share your understanding of what the speaker said and meant. The cycle of speaking and reflecting continues until you, as the speaker, do not have anything else you'd like to say, or until you get a signal from the timekeeper. If you get a signal from the timekeeper, then finish up what you're saying in a sentence or two. After you get a final reflection, you can end your turn by saying something like, "I feel fully heard," or something like that to indicate you are done with your speaking turn. At that point, the roles then rotate. The active listener becomes the speaker. The person they select becomes the new active listener. For everyone having equal time, it is good to select someone that hasn't spoken lately, but it is your choice. The others in the circle become the silent listeners. This process of taking turns in speaking and active listening continues for whatever time is allotted for the empathy circle. And this was just a very short introduction. The best way to learn the practice is taking part and doing it. There is more in-depth material on taking part in an empathy circle and facilitating one at empathycircle.com. Thank you for listening. Okay, so at this point, we usually go into a sample empathy circle. Melissa, I'm thinking that we just go directly into the circles because we're kind of running low on time. When we did the intros, it just took a bit longer than I thought. So, so we have 3 breakout rooms. The first one will be.
Hello, Mama. How now?
Somebody's muted. We'll mute someone. So Linda, you'll be facilitating the first circle. Larry, the second one, and Bill will support you. And Melissa, you'll facilitate the third one. And Maureen will be in your space, which she's experienced is extra support. And I'll be with Linda. So we're going to have about an hour in the circle. I'm going to put the topic in is why are you interested in empathy circles, and the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training, or whatever's alive for you. And you'll have 4-minute turns, and the facilitator will be the first listener. So let's get in there and actually get some practice doing this. And here we go, open all rooms, and we'll be in the weight room here, Linda. So this is after 6 of us here, and Isla should be moving to another room shortly. You're muted, Linda.
So we had.
There we go.
Okay. All right. 6 people. Well, Linda, I know you've participated in this before, and Bunny, I don't remember meeting you.
No.
Dwayne, I know you're very experienced, and Hanna. Okay, so this is, remember, Edwin is in the room with us, so this room is being recorded. We're gonna go around and we're gonna have an empathy circle. I'm gonna start off because I'm the facilitator, so I'll start off by being the listener. I'm gonna pick a speaker. I will rephrase, repeat, or whatever for 4 minutes. What the speaker is saying to me. then the speaker becomes the listener and picks someone to listen. I mean, the listener, I'm the listener, then I become the speaker and I'll pick somebody to listen to me, and we're going to go around full circle. Any questions? Trust me, it's a good experience and you'll catch on. So the question or the topic is, why are you interested in empathy or the empathy circles, or, why do you want to become a empathy circle facilitator, or so you're in the training, or whatever is alive to you, whatever you want to speak on. So each person will have 4 minutes, and I'm going to pick Linda to speak to me, and I will listen. And if you would, most people can only retain a little bit of information at a time. So we ask that you speak in chunks, so they can get it and then rephrase it back to you. So Linda, did I throw you off? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right.
I'm interested in the empathy circles because I got a taste of, just a little taste some years ago from having Edwin come to one of our events. And then I saw him around town with the empathy tents, and it's something that I've been thinking a lot about.
Okay.
Since then.
Yeah, so you're interested because you experienced an empathy circle, or Edwin presented an empathy circle on one occasion, and since then you've seen the empathy tent around the community, and it's something that you've been interested in, so you decided to check it out.
And I've over my life have explored a lot of different ways of trying to understand myself, trying to understand other people. And I think I've come to realize that it's this one-on-one experience that feels so, there's just something inside that feels so good and is like, it feels like a breakthrough.
Okay. So you've been interested throughout your life on how to communicate with people better communicate, and for them to communicate with you. But you found this one-on-one interaction is a breakthrough.
Exactly. And since I do a lot of community building work as a community organizer, I'm always looking for ways to forge new connections. And to me, this feels like one that's universal, that will be helpful in my community, but also helpful on this very personal level.
Okay. So you're involved in community work, and so you're out there interacting with the public in a lot of instances, and you found this empathy circle is a great way to communicate to. It's a great tool that you can use in your work in the community. So, and it's a feeling, it resonates with your spirit.
Yes. And finally, over the past few years, especially, I'm just seeing and feeling personally, our world feels like people are pulling apart from each other instead of coming towards each other. And this is a tool that if we can spread this, I think this will bring us together so that we can have this healthy planet and communities for everybody.
Yeah, it seems like everybody in the world is pulling apart rather than coming together as a group. And you feel like this empathy circle of practicing empathic listening will help bring people together as opposed to apart. So it's a way to connect with each other and hopefully have a better world.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay, thank you. All right, so because I was the listener, I get to speak now, and I will speak to Bunny.
Hi, I will be listening.
All right. Oh, and I forgot to tell you that when you're speaking or when the 4 minutes is up, I'll hold up a piece of paper or something like this to just let you know. But, you know, finish your thought, and whoever is rephrasing, they need to finish too. Okay, so I have to time myself. I'm interested in the Empathy Circle basically for the same reason that Linda is interested in it. It's a way of definitely communicating. It's a good feeling to actually be heard and not compete to be heard.
Okay, Linda, I hear you saying you're interested because it's a good way to be heard and not compete with being heard.
Yes. When I'm conducting mediations, and we're all parties are in the same room, it can get a little intense, and people will be speaking over each other, even though the rules say that you don't, but sometimes the emotions take over. And I want to incorporate this into the mediation to help everybody, all parties stay in the same room and for it not to get so intense.
Okay, I hear you say when you're doing remediations, it can get very intense when people talk over each other. So you want to use this as a method of navigating that and changing that method of communication.
Yes, exactly. I'm finding that it works for me personally as well, because I'm listening more, and I'm finding out that it's not as easy as I thought it was.
Okay, you find yourself listening more, so it's helping you personally, and you found out it's not as easy as you thought it was.
No, because you have to be, or I have to be focused, and it's intentional, and I have to control my urge to contribute to the conversation when it's not my turn.
Yes, you have to be focused, intentional, and hold back that urge to contribute when it's not your turn.
Yes. I've said this on several occasions. My, I say girlfriends, we're all ladies though. When we all get together, it's amazing how we can talk over each other. I can't say we're heard, but we talk over each other and the message comes through, but we're not being heard like you are in an empathy circle.
So you find when you're with your girlfriends, you often talk over each other and the message is getting through, but you're not being heard like in an empathy circle.
Yeah, you're not being heard. And so recently I've just sat back in the group and just observed, and it is kind of funny. It is funny, really, is how we can just chatter on and get the message through, but when it's over with, we don't have that satisfying feeling that someone actually took time to listen to the words that were coming out of our mouths.
So you are looking for that satisfying feeling of somebody understanding the words instead of just getting the message out, but having it heard and feeling that.
Exactly. And thank you, Bunny. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda.
Okay. And so now you're the listener. What's a listener? You pick someone to listen to you speak.
Okay, I guess I'll pick Hanna. Below me. Okay, why am I interested in this? I think I am a person who usually likes to be doing things rather than talking. And sitting and listening has been a challenge to me. So I think this is a good practice to actually sit still and talk and be heard.
Okay, so you usually find it difficult to sit still and do things. You usually find it easier to, yeah, you usually find it easier to be doing things rather than like sitting still and listening. And you think that this is a good practice for you to have.
Thank you. And the reason I'm here is because, like Linda, I'm in more situations where I have to be in communication and be hearing what people are saying, and not have the miscommunications can cause damage. So.
Okay, so you want to avoid the miscommunications that might cause damage, and you want to learn that.
And so personally, I also feel that sometimes, as the other Linda Bass said, sometimes there is that urge to just respond to what people are saying, because sometimes I think I won't remember, or it's like taking so long and I'm not going to remember by the time the person finishes. So that's my urge to speak immediately instead of waiting.
Mm-hmm. So you feel an urge to speak or respond to what the other person is saying because you feel that you're worried that you won't remember what the other person is saying.
Yes, that's it. And then I think one of the other things is words that trigger. That's another time that I find myself interrupting when a certain word will trigger me, and I feel like being able to work on that, and understanding why those words are triggers.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes you find that some words will trigger you, and you want to, and then you feel the urge to interrupt someone, and you want to understand why that is and learn to work with that.
So all in all, feeling understood is critical in any of our work that we do. To be successful, you do have to be understood, and you have to be also clear in your communication. So that's another reason I'm interested in this.
So you're also interested because you believe that being understood is important, and being clear in your communication with other people is important.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know. It seems like I feel fully heard in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hannah, it's now your turn.
Sorry, so I choose the one that's listening, right?
Yes, you become the speaker and you choose someone to listen.
So Dwayne, right? Or yeah?
Yes, it's Dwayne. Thank you.
Okay. Why am I interested in empathy? I guess it's hard to pinpoint exactly what would be the kind of the first point of when I became interested in it. But I guess it's been like a long, lifelong process of kind of bits and pieces along the way.
Hanna, when you think about your interest in empathy circles, empathy cafes, it's not easy to remember exactly when the interest began, but in some ways you see it as a bit of part of a lifelong journey towards, this moment that you're in now.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And I guess I became more interested in it after I hosted these meditation groups with a friend of mine who is now also quite involved with XR, and she isn't a facilitator herself, but she has attended the circles quite a lot. So I've heard lots of good things about them from her.
You began to learn more about this process when you were involved in doing meditation training with a friend of yours, and she shared a lot of information about this process. She's a part of the XR group, and I think you found it more interesting and decided to and learn more about it.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess the empathy circle specifically intrigues me a lot, even though like meditation is something I've done for a long time. But this is it's more like a communication with another person rather than sitting alone with yourself. And the whole process really fascinates me, although it seems like it will take some time to kind of get into it properly.
Yeah, it's been interesting for you, Hanna, because you're comfortable with the meditation process and the idea of meditating, but there's something a little bit more interesting about being in communication with other people. You find it a bit challenging now, but still you would like to get more into it and learn more about it.
Yes, for sure. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. And now I'm the speaker, and I would like to ask Edwin to be my listener.
Yep, listening.
Hey, it's interesting. There's always so many things going on in my head. So thinking about what's alive for me, wow, there's so many things alive as I'm listening to listen to you all in this group speak and everything. There's so many things that are alive.
So listening to everyone, so many things have come up in our life for you.
It's interesting because I'm legally a person with disabilities and have a variety of different disabilities that challenge me on a daily basis.
So you've got a variety of disabilities that are causing challenges for you. I mean, daily challenges.
Many years ago, when I was in graduate school, I was introduced to this book called Your Erroneous Zones.
So you had come across this book, Your Erroneous Zones?
Yes, and by Dr. Wayne Dyer, in a graduate course on interpersonal communication. And the really fascinating thing about this book was the author believed that we all have the capacity to learn how to improve our lives. The challenging part for most of us is learning how to let go of the things that we carry around, that excess baggage.
So it sounds like a premise of the book is that we can all learn, but the hard thing is to let go of maybe bad ideas or erroneous ideas and let those go.
I think Shel Silverstein captured it in a poem called Sarah Sylvia Cynthia Stout, who would not take the garbage out. And for me, there was a moment of understanding that, living with different types of disabilities can be challenging, but how the things that I let go, that I learned from those experiences, the importance of letting go, learning and letting go of the extra baggage that I carried around as a result of those experiences.
So it was very meaningful, the idea of letting go of things, and that's sort of, yeah. I don't know if I quite got that, but
Yeah, that's basically important, to letting go of things. But also too, I came across a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer at the time that was based on a quote by Lao Tzu from the Book of Changes. This idea that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
oh, so there's a quote from Lao Tzu is, if you look at things differently, that the way you think changes, the way you act changes. If you change your way of looking at the world, your actions change too.
Yes, and for me, I thought about that, and I came up with a similar idea based on that idea that when I change the way I think and talk about my life, the way I experience my life also changes.
Oh, so you notice that when you change the way you look at life, that the way you act is also changing?
Well, it's more that when I change the way that I communicate with myself about life, and I communicate with others, the way I experience life also changes.
Oh, so it's the way you communicate with yourself. When that changes, your own self-communication, so that changes the communication with others.
And when I think and talk about my life in a more positive way, I experience life in a more positive or more healthier way. And that's helped me to manage the variety of challenges that I face. But of course, human beings in general face a lot of challenges in life as well.
Oh, so it's sort of like this mindset has helped you address the challenges that you're dealing with, that you've been able to, it's helped you address the challenges.
Yes, I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I was a little distracted. Josephine, were you in another room with who?
Sorry, I was.
Oh, there she goes. Like somebody moved her. Okay, sorry. Yeah, what happens is people drop out and they come back in. We got to get them back into the room, and I was a little distracted there. So actually, I'll speak to Linda Bass.
Yeah, that distracted me too. I was like, wait a minute, did I miss?
I was a little distracted. Yeah, it's like maybe I'll start with getting a reflection of that. So
okay.
As I'm kind of doing the overall tech, so there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm keeping track, and I see it's inhibiting my clear presence and listening.
So when I hear you say that multitasking does not work in the empathy circle.
You want to kind of like stay present and attention, because if you have your mind going to other things, it's like I kind of stop remembering what I was kind of hearing. And so,
yes.
But somebody's got to kind of manage, kind of deal with all these windows that are open here. So it's got to be done.
Yes, and you're saying there are a lot of distractions that have you going from one side to the other side, but you're the producer, that's your job. And so you know what you have to do.
Yeah. And the thing that's alive for me is I'm so happy that Linda, Curie, and Bonnie are here. Is like with the empathy, I do a lot of work. Yeah, we got to get the world. I'm kind of banging the drum for empathy. Everybody, we need more empathy in the world. And it feels like there's a lot of effort, going out. And then I just really appreciate it. Linda came and contacted me and said, hey, we want to do this, So it's nice when people reach out and they say, hey, we really want to do this. And they sort of take initiative. So it just feels really good. So
you put a lot of yourself, a lot of effort into putting empathy out there. You're beating the drums and you're, going all over the place, demonstrating how it works. And so you've been giving, and with Linda and Bonnie showing up, now you're receiving, and that makes you feel good that you're making an impact, but making a difference.
Yeah, it's nice when organizations and people sort of reach out and say, hey, we kind of see what you're doing. We'd like to incorporate that. That would be really great. So there's sort of an appreciation of it. And in general, there's not that appreciation. More of it, the culture is, hey, our side is right, the other guys are wrong, and either join us or against the other side, or you know, there's sort of an us versus them versus what we're doing is very subtle and sort of it's different than what the culture is really supporting.
Yeah, you're recognizing that empathy is different from what our cultures are experiencing. And it's nice when the organizations reach out to you and invite you in. They're recognizing how this empathy circle, the empathic listening, how it can be a benefit to their organization. So that's appreciation to you.
Yeah.
And which in our world we don't get a lot of, because it's you know, you versus me, I win, you lose.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a little bit more like family, you know, counseling. You know, a couple, they don't go into therapy until things are so bad it's about to totally fall apart. You know, it's like they wait years and years, and then they're about ready for the divorce, and it's like, oh, now we got to go into therapy kind of thing. So I think the culture is a little bit like that. It's like, I'm just waiting for like almost total collapse, and then people will be kind of interested in more empathy and empathic mediation and, you know, a cultural shift, maybe.
Okay. So your analogy, you know, for people coming to, some people coming to empathy is like, well, our culture is like a marriage that's having problems on and on and on throughout the years, and they wait until it's just, you know, about to blow up before they go for counseling. And you feel like that's what the world is. It's like things are happening and we're going and going and going, and we're almost to the verge of collapse, and we need empathy.
Yeah, it's maybe that fear of the collapse that, you know, will drive people to look for alternatives. So that's my theory. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, but
so your theory is that the fear of collapse will drive people or encourage people to seek out empathy. That's your theory, and that's what you're working on for.
Yeah, it's the alternatives, right? Empathy is sort of this alternative, so they'll start seeking, you know, be open to alternatives. And
yeah, so empathy is the alternative to collapse.
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Now we still have time, plenty of time. We can go around, and we will go around and do this again, and you can speak on whatever is alive for you, whatever I want to say, whatever resonates with your spirit. So I'm the the listener. So I will speak to oh, that's a good one. Let me see. And okay, Hanna, I'll speak to you.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. And I'm going to start off by saying that this may be a sensitive subject to some people, but it's alive in my spirit right now. I watched a documentary last night called Civil War. And I think it was a very good documentary compared to, because I like watching documentaries. And I would say it's up there with some of the best ones I've seen.
Okay, so you watched a documentary last night on Civil War, and you thought that it was a really good documentary.
Yes. And it amazed me how people see things. And it's true, two people can look at the same picture and see two totally different things.
It amazes you how two people can look at one thing and see completely different things, how people view things differently.
Yes, and that people, that we all create stories that we can live with.
So, and yeah, and how we as people create stories that we feel like we can live with.
Yes, and so the documentary was on slavery and the emancipation and the systemic racism that is prevalent in America.
So the documentary was on slavery, emancipation, and the structural racism that occurs in America.
Yes. I had never thought about this, how as a Black person, I would never consider having a celebration, a wedding or a celebration on a plantation.
And how you as a Black person would never consider having a wedding or a celebration of some kind on a plantation.
Yes, and the interviewer pointed that out, that some white people tend to sanitize that part of American history and make it work for them and make it pleasant to the point that going to a plantation for a celebration is okay.
And you see a tendency, or see how white people tend to wipe away this part of history, or how sanitize it, to the extent that going to a plantation for a celebration is a good idea for them.
Yes, and I did notice on a lighter note in the group discussions, when some people were talking, it didn't happen all the time, but when some people were talking, other people would, that emotion, that trigger, that word would trigger something and they would jump right in. And I was sitting there thinking the empathy circle would be perfect for this group.
And you saw how when people were talking, that some people were triggered by some words and how they felt this urge to jump in. And your thought was that an empathy circle would work well with this.
Yes, and thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. So I'm the speaker now, right? Okay. I will speak to Linda, the other Linda.
Okay. Linda 1, I'm Linda 2.
You're Linda B and I'm Linda
C. Okay, that's right. Okay.
Happy to do it.
Yeah, what is alive for me? I'm finding that in my first empathy circle, I'm already experiencing such a roller coaster of emotions.
So what's alive for you, what you're experiencing is already a roller coaster of emotions in this first experience with Empathy Circle.
I find that first, like the most prominent feeling would be this weight of responsibility. Like it feels really important that when someone else is speaking, that like I get it right. And yeah, that's, I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what comes up, I guess.
So what you're feeling in this experience is a weight of responsibility and a feeling of trying to get it right, and it's difficult. It feels difficult.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it feels really like I'm really honored that I get to listen to people, and it feels really like it softens me somehow. Yeah.
So at the same time, you feel really honored to be experiencing listening to other people, and you feel softened by this experience.
And I feel like, yeah, I'm excited to see how practicing it more can deepen it, and yeah, seeing how it can evolve and like where it can take me.
So you're interested in seeing how practicing it more can deepen the experience and where it will continue to evolve for you.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Perfect. So let's see. I will choose. I'm trying to see everybody. I don't think everyone has had a chance, or have they, to listen. How about Dwayne? Will you be my listener? Thanks, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Wow. I had this feeling the first time I participated a few weeks ago, which is, it's I think what Hanna was describing. I just feel honored, and I feel like this warm feeling of connection, which is surprising. Has surprised me.
Linda, you participated a few weeks ago, and similar to Hanna, you've had this refreshing, warm feeling about this process, along with the challenges that, this is a positive thing or a healthy thing moving forward, and becoming more comfortable with it.
Yes. I really like meeting all of you, and I love that we are we're at our computers, but we're from all different places, and we have from different experiences, and yet we're connecting and sharing in this what feels like a very deep level to me.
You love meeting and speaking with the people in this group. And, even though we're in our own separate environments in other parts of the world, there's still this connectiveness, and you like the feeling of this connectiveness that you share with the people in this group.
Yes. And I feel like I'd like you to be my friends. I feel like already, like this is a feeling of friendship. I've met you, Dwayne, the first time, and also Linda Bass the first time, and I'm forgetting his name, the former teacher, Bill. So just in 2 sessions online, I have this feeling of connection that even with people I've known for a long time, some people in my neighborhood or people I've known a long time, it doesn't always feel like this to me. It feels like people are rushed and in a hurry and not in the moment.
You've had this really interesting experience through this group. You've met people like Linda and Bill, and even this guy named Dwayne. And you want to be friends with these people, and you feel this, connectiveness. And it's interesting because there are people in your immediate community that you interact with that you haven't experienced this with.
Exactly. Thank you. I think I feel complete. I feel fully heard. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you. And I will be the new speaker. And if Bonnie, you're okay, I'd like for you to be my active listener.
Sure, I will do that. Thanks.
Thank you. It's interesting because I share some of the feelings that Linda has and Hanna about how at first this was a little bit, for me, a little bit challenging. And then, I become comfortable. I think this is probably my 6th or 7th Empathy Cafe. And I like this experience of being connected and meeting people like you all. And I also, want to be friends and to know more about you all. And so it's a really great feeling. And oops, excuse me.
Okay. I will say, So at first, this might have felt challenging, but this is your 6th or 7th time, and it seems to be working. You keep coming back. So, and yes, you're getting something out of this.
Yes. I was getting a little bit into the flow there, and I'm reminded about the practice, and that's really, I think, one of the important things about entering the training is and practicing, so that, you know, I would like to be able to be a facilitator to help the conversations flow.
Yes, part of your purpose is to be a facilitator to help the conversations flow.
Yes. Everything that I do in my life, and I can say almost everything, is aligned with my overall goal or my purpose for the rest of my life.
Everything you do in your life is aligned with the overall goal and purpose of your life.
Yeah. For me, living a life on purpose or with purpose, my focus is for the rest of my life, contributing something positive to the world that I'm living in while working with whatever challenges life offers me.
You want to create a positive impact on the world despite all the challenges that might face you.
The only thing I would say differently is I wouldn't use the word despite, because I feel that challenges are a part of my everyday life, and it's a natural part of life.
Thank you. Okay, I will just say that too. So it isn't, the challenges are a natural part of life that add to your experience, possibly.
Yes. Yes. And I think that I make it a point to do at least one thing for somebody else every day of my life.
It's important for you to do at least one thing for somebody else every day in your life.
However, I always start by taking care of myself first.
But taking care of yourself first is very important.
Being at the center of my own life enhances everything that I do. And I find that I have a greater capacity for giving, for sharing kindness, for being compassionately empathetic when I take care of myself first.
So when you can focus on taking care of yourself first, you have a greater ability to be empathetic and compassionate.
And kind, more kind.
Thank you, and kind.
And I think that, one of the things that I'd like to bring to this conversation is to challenge myself and to challenge other people, to encourage other people to focus on taking care of themselves first in this process.
So what you'd like to bring to this conversation is to encourage people to take care of themselves first in this process.
Thank you, Bonnie. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Dwayne. Okay, who hasn't been a listener yet?
I think everybody's had an opportunity to listen. Okay. Am I correct? Okay, so you can just pick whoever you want.
Okay, well, Linda, do you want to be my listener?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So what's on my mind right now is, so two things that a couple of people have mentioned here is the shifting your perspective, how shifting the way you're looking at the world can both, change your experiences of the world and also how others react to you.
Yeah, you're picking up on some previous conversations regarding in this circle regarding shifting of perspectives and how your perspective can change how you see the world.
Yes, thank you. So one of the challenges and misunderstanding I think I've had in my life was when my mother had a stroke, and feeling empathy, or it was very difficult for me to be in her perspective, and to it was also challenging because I felt her perspective was, I wish I could have changed hers a little bit, but
yeah. When your mother had a stroke, you wanted to see it from her perspective, the whole situation, and that was a challenge for you, and you recognize that her perspective was something that you wish would have been different.
yes, I think this just having an ability to not see her own life at that point as a failure, or it just seems like that was the perspective that she was projecting, and it was creating an inability. To me, it felt like it was creating an inability to do therapy or to make any progress outside of her situation.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say, Bunny, is that your mother's, what you perceive to be your mother's inability to see her life as it was or was a failure, and her perspective interrupted therapy and progress in her healing in the healing process.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would say at that point she only saw the most negative things in her life, and it was, yeah, I think it was challenging for me, and I just felt if I had been in a situation where I could help shift to just, I just feel this whole process of being able to just, even just a little bit, to shift that perspective so you can see that, yes, things are worth it.
Yes.
Have
Okay.
value.
Your mother appeared, from your perspective, to be focusing on the negative side of her life, and it was your wish that you could just shift it just a little bit for her, so she could see that everything is not negative. There's good, and that was a bit of a challenge for you because you couldn't get her off to see it. You couldn't shift her perspective.
Yes, and so in my own personal life now, I think that is what I would like to try to understand more of, how I can look at things that come at me as maybe opportunities, more, not necessarily opportunities, but as different ways I can learn from these experiences.
Okay, so you're saying that now when things come at you, you like to be in a position where you can not see them as challenges, not necessarily opportunities, but get something positive out of it. And that's how you would like to live your life now.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
All righty. Do we have time, Edwin? I'm not sure on the time.
Yeah, it's going to go another 10 minutes or so. I'm going to send out a notice here.
Okay.
So 10
All right.
minutes. Mm-hmm.
and during those 10 minutes, y'all, we're gonna debrief a little bit in here before we go back to the main room. So Bunny, no, I'm the listener. So, Dwayne, no, you've talked enough. Edwin,
Okay, I'm listening.
okay. You know, I find being in the circle, one of the things I want to do is, especially when I can feel someone's emotions and I want to reach out and help. And I used to do grief counseling. Well, it wasn't counseling, it was a support group. And so in this circle, it's like a support group, but you can't reach out and help. You can only listen.
So when you hear someone struggling, like maybe some grief, that you have a desire to help, to do something, but you can't do that. You have to just listen.
Yes, and that may be therapeutic for them. You know, I don't know, but that may be therapeutic for them, that someone is actually listening to them, no matter what emotion they're experiencing at that particular time.
You're seeing how that could be beneficial to someone who's just, they can express any emotion and just be heard, and that could be therapeutic. You're seeing that.
It can be therapeutic for them, but it can be a little wild for me in my head, because I want to, I have to resist the urge to, you know, make suggestions or comfort them, and or, you know, offer opinions or do something like that.
Yeah, it's a challenge for you because you want to like contribute, you want to offer some suggestions, some opinions, you got to hold back. So it's a challenge. It might be beneficial for them to be heard like that, but it's a challenge for you to hold back.
That's true. So I have to remember that it's not about me, it's about them. It's about them being heard. And as I think someone in the group, it may have been Hanna, that said, and Linda too, they talked about the comforting, the good feeling, the warm feeling that they had, that someone actually took time to listen to them.
So it's that, as Hanna and Linda mentioned, the warm feeling of just having been heard, someone really listened to them. So you're just noticing that.
Yeah, because a lot of people want, I believe a lot of people want to be seen. And I have a knack of saying to people, I see you, you know, but they also want to be heard. And it makes, I think Hanna pointed this out, that you're important enough for somebody to give up their time to listen to what you have to say.
Yeah, people want to be heard and seen, and if you're just listening to them, you're showing them that they're important enough to be heard and seen.
Yeah. So I see that as a real benefit to the empathy circles and practicing empathic listening.
So that's a huge, a big benefit to the practice, as people get seen, acknowledged.
Yes, thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay, then I'll speak to Hanna.
Did you send out your 10-minute deal?
I did. I just sent it out. So
Okay.
we have another 8 minutes or so, a little bit less.
Yeah, but I want to, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm really appreciating, Hanna, the kind of what I'm hearing from everyone, just the sort of the insights. It's sort of like we learn by just doing, you know, so everybody's kind of saying, hey, I'm doing this and this is what I'm learning. So I really like that, learning by doing.
So you're saying that you are appreciating everyone's comments about their experience of the circle, and how everyone is learning by doing, and sharing their experience.
And I appreciate Linda bringing up the racism topic, because it's big in the United States. It's a big issue. And for me, you know, racism is a form of judgment, and judgment is a block to empathy. So if we judge each other, we're blocking empathic connection. So I just see that there's a broader issue of people judging each other and thereby blocking empathy.
You appreciate Linda bringing up the racism issue, and you see racism as judgment, and you see that blocks empathy, and you maybe view that as a larger, or like as a large problem, like overall problem.
Yeah, so I think that what we're doing here with the empathy circle, like Linda mentioned, is really the way to address the issue, is to, you know, bring people together into these empathy circles to really hear each other and meet each other with empathy, which is kind of like, you know, transforms judgment.
Mm-hmm. And what we are doing here is we're coming together and meeting each other with empathy, and yeah, loosening the judgment. And the
Yeah. So I'm actually not against racism. I'm for empathizing with racism, because I think that when you empathize with racism, you transform it. And I've had empathy. I have had dialogues with Daryl Davis, who's a very, you know, well-known African American, who went and empathized with the Ku Klux Klan members, and it was his empathy that actually transformed them. They said, "Hey, I was wrong about all my judgments. I'm going to give you my Ku Klux Klan robe." And he has 200 Ku Klux Klan robes, you know, that he's transformed people. So
you're saying that you're not against racism, you're like for empathizing with racism, and you believe that that's what can change it. And you talked about this, the author? No.
he's a musician. Yeah, he's actually a musician. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, this person that went to the Ku Klux Klan and like brought empathy there and kind of transformed people through that.
Yeah. So I think that's how we transform judgment. We don't judge judgment. We empathize with judgment. And that's what we do in the empathy circle, right? If I was judging you, you would just empathize with me, which kind of like transforms the judgment. So I really think that that's kind of the key to getting out of this bind that we're in.
Mm-hmm. So you think that the key to transforming things, or changing things, is to instead of judging judgment, you're empathizing with judgment.
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me, before we go into the main room, does anybody have any questions about what the experience we just had, or? Yes, Bunny.
Yeah, I am just wondering, do you usually put the person on speaker view or gallery view? I'm just wondering what people usually do.
Different things work for different people.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been in circles where some people take notes when the book, you know, I guess they're picking up on keywords. Me, if I take notes, that's a distraction. But for some, so it all works, you know, whatever works for you, especially in the world of Zoom.
Yeah, I just observed, I was on gallery view and I put it on speaker view instead so I could see the speaker larger. It helped. It helped me personally.
Oh, okay, yes, because communication, you add to the ability to effectively and clearly communicate when you can see the person's face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. Yes, Dwayne.
2 comments. I think this having a little bit of time to debrief or have a conversation at the end of this process within the small group is really important, and I'm glad that you added that. And then the other thing is, I really enjoyed this experience today, and also I hope to be a part of the conversation on the 30th. I'd like to participate to help if possible. on the 30th with your group.
I
Is
believe
that
that's
the
the one on
Democracy
democracy.
Circle?
The democracy.
Democracy Circle? That's
Yes,
great.
yes.
Yeah, excellent. Yep.
Okay, anyone else? Linda.
I just want to express my deep appreciation and gratitude for everyone who is here today, and that each person brought me, I felt like a gift of something they said, sparked something in me. I got feelings, and I got perspective, and I got gifts from each one of you. And Dwayne, I just want to let you know that what you shared with me, or shared with the group last time, about every day you try to do something positive, and I've been trying to do that too. So I just appreciate how powerful it's not just the listening and sharing with each other, but it's the broader perspective that we in transition we talk about people having creative genius. Like each person has value, and trying to tap into that creative genius of each person. And I really see that clearly with all of you. So thank you so much. I'm very pleased to be here.
Yeah, we have 44 seconds before Edwin beams us up to the, or down to the main room. And we will continue to debrief there, so feel free to share. This has really been a good experience for me. I enjoy each one. Every time it's a different good feeling. And I need good feelings. So thank you, each and every one of you.
Thank you, and I hope to see everybody back again.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed this experience.
Are they coming to us, Edwin?
10 seconds.
Oh,
7.
Well, does anybody have 10 seconds they want to? Anna, what did you say? What's your occupation? Well, that was the end of that. Yes.
So I'm still studying. I'm doing master's in public health.
Oh.
Yeah.
Take my hat off to you. Great, great.
Thank you.
Okay, Larry, you're going to handle this section.
Thank you, Edwin. Well, welcome back, everyone. And now we'd like to take about maybe 30 seconds for each person to share what the Empathy Circle experience was like, to listen and reflect. How did it feel for you? And I'll just go around the screen and Maureen, could you unmute and share what it was like for you?
Okay, thank you, Larry. Yes, in spite of our technical difficulties, we managed. It was interesting. Yeah, we came up with power, how we use our power to listen or not to listen.
Thank you, Maureen. And Maria, would you share, please?
Thank you. I would say that it was honor for me to participate in a breakout room and to be given the opportunity to speak and to listen. And I found it a very delightful and very good experience. And I would love to participate in a Empathy Circle training.
Thank you, Maria. And Diali, would you share, please?
Unmute, yeah.
I am blessed to have gone to LinkedIn today to see this training. I think that it's been uplifting for me to share real life troubles on my mind. And after sharing it, it lightened the weight. It made me happier. And I think I can carry on my day. And I've learned some techniques from Larry on how to de-escalate my attacker that I meet every day. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Diali. And Josephine, would you share, please?
Yes, I as well am very grateful to everyone in our group. I feel very supported. I've picked up some tips, but I must say I also feel quite exhausted because I found the listening aspect difficult to focus my attention on what was being said, and so I am very aware that that is an area that I need to practice. But I feel, as Diali said, you know, blessed to be in such a group of lovely people. Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you, Josephine. Isa, would you unmute and share, please?
Yes. Okay. So I felt very inspired, especially when it was in the end we talked about listening and being empowered, and what it means to listen to others. The species needs to do so.
Isa, thank you so much. I'm hearing that you had a very enjoyable experience. I hope I got that right. The sound is a little bit challenging. If I missed it, please repeat yourself, please. Did I get it right?
Yes, in essence, yes.
Thank you, Isa. Thank you so much. And Gary, would you share, please?
Yes, I found it exuberating as usual. How we different spans of life come together and have commonality about things that we talk about.
Thank you, Gary. And Bonnie, would you share, please?
Sure. I think what I got out of it is like being able to feel more important in your life when somebody listens, because we generally have so many experiences where people don't listen, don't have enough time. And then another thing is getting rid of baggage and holding back judgments, because they are in the way of empathy, can get in the way.
Thank you, Bonnie. And Linda Curry, would you share, please?
Yes, I just love this experience and the many gifts that I felt like I received just in taking part in it. Every person has so much to share, and we benefit when we hear these stories and experiences, and we feel closer. So it's just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And Dwayne, would you share, please?
Yes. You know, I really appreciate this incredible opportunity that Edwin and other folks have created, you know, for us to come together and share some ideas and feel listened to and connected. And I always feel refreshed after these conversations, and I'm very excited about continuing to learn more about this process and looking forward to more personal growth and develop and finding out how I can contribute more to the conversation. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. And Hanna, would you share, please?
Yes, I feel really grateful, lighter as well. I feel like I learned a lot, and I noticed where the challenges might be for me and how I could work on them. And yeah, I feel really honored to have been a part of it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hanna. And I'm going to ask Mr. Chiana, if you could unmute and speak, it would be wonderful. And I understand we've had some technical challenges today, And I think I've covered the participants. And if I left anyone out, please either raise your hand or just wave your hand or say hello. If I omitted you, please, I don't want to omit anyone. Taralisa, thank you. Would you share, please?
Yes, I second a lot of what everyone has already shared. I feel so honored and blessed just to be part of this community. And there's definitely things that I can work on to be a better listener, I believe. But I also know that each time I come, it's a different experience, but it yields the same result of feeling heard and seen, feeling valued and worthy. I think it's a beautiful thing that so many people from so many different ways, walks of life can come together all in a single purpose. I just believe it's beautiful. I believe we're all little lights. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I'm looking forward to many.
Thank you, Taralisa. Wow, you really summed it up. Thank you, thank you. Did I miss any other participants? If I did, I apologize humbly, and turn your camera and say hello. And Mr. Chiana, one more chance, please, to unmute and say hello. And how was the experience for you? And Edwin, do we have time to go through the facilitators?
Yeah, I think we do. If we go move quickly, 30 seconds each.
Bill, would you start, please?
Sure. Well, I'm really appreciative of everybody comes here. It's I kind of use the word empathy pioneers to take that first step to really change the world. It's going to take a lot of those steps, but you should be recognized for your bravery and your persistence and your good taste, I have to say. And so thank you all. And again, I'll put my contact information if you're interested in empathy in schools, my email, and I have a little Zoom thing on Thursdays. So we get this in the schools so that kids start learning this at an early age and grow up to be fine human beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And Linda, would you share, please?
Yes. With each new circle, there's a new experience. There are new people that bring a new perspective. It's all good for me. I enjoyed it again today.
Thank you, Linda. And I will just echo what Linda said. With each experience, it's a brand new coming home to the heart every time. I just love it. And have I missed any of the facilitators? Edwin. Melissa. Oh, Melissa. Oh, Melissa.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yes, it is a brand new experience. We spoke of power in high places, and a very important thing that I forgot. It's the listener who feels empowered when you take the time and stop to listen to another and make the person feel heard. You are giving them something and you're receiving more than that. And that was such a important, it's so important that people in high far places forget that they have so much power to stop and listen and do good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for that, Melissa. Thank you so much. And Edwin, I think it's over to you.
I think we got everyone. So yeah, it was in our group, it came up several times. People mentioned, oh, this feels really good. This feels really good. So it's in a culture that's very combative, a lot of stress, a lot of strain. If people hear each other, Carl Rogers, who developed this process, he kind of summed it up. He said, feeling heard feels damn good. So it's just the way it is. And so we can just kind of spread this feeling. I did want to put into the chat, there's a couple links there. Going forward, next steps, next Saturday, we do another one of these intro cafes at the same time at 10 a.m. Pacific. But then later in the afternoon, we'll be having a democracy circle. So we're using the empathy circle practice, but applying it to how do we address the challenges in our democracy. So you're welcome to come and check that out. There's a link to it there where you can RSVP for that. So it'll be a little bit later for those in Europe. And then we have cohort 12D, which is the next cohort that's coming. That starts on Saturday, November 20th. So we'll be doing these empathy cafes, intro cafes until then. And then we'll, if you could fill out the last link there is the feedback form. If you click that, if you can click that right now, and if you bring that up, if you're able to bring that up, you can add your email address in there. Just ask for your email and your name and any feedback about today's session. We use that to improve the this session, this intro cafe. And it also, we can put you onto our email list, which we send out notices for the different empathy trainings and cafes that are coming up. We're actually doing something on the 6th, which we'll send out a notice about too, is we'll have an empathy cafe in the morning, our morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And then later in the afternoon, we're going to be having a healing circle through the Berkeley group here. So you're welcome to come to that if you want to help facilitate a breakout room. We're going to be looking for facilitators to help with that. And Linda, Curry, and Bonnie are part of that. So those are some of the next steps going forward. And with that, we like to just get our jazz hands saying goodbye for now, and we'll see you next time in the upcoming cafes. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good week.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Isa had a question about 2022. Do we have the calendar that far out, 2022?
2022, we do have the empathy, the cohort is starting January 3rd, I think, the cohort 13. So yeah. So usually what we do is we have a 5-week session, and then 4 or 5 weeks of intro cafes, and the next session starts and it repeats. So either on Monday or on Saturday, and we may be adding more as needed. So I think, yeah. Oh, I think so.
Thank you.